Hi everyone, welcome. My name is Billy. Today I would like to share with you two V-neck dresses with very oversized pointed collars like this. So today's dresses are very much inspired by the Alessandra Rich dress that Kate Middleton Cambridge wore earlier this year. And when I saw those pictures of Kate wearing that dress, I just thought that dress looked so elegant. And so I definitely wanted to emulate that look. And since I've been making shirt dresses for the last few months anyway, so in a way, this design is a natural progression of my shirt dress making. And originally, I was not sure how to make this collar because it was not a flat collar as far as I could tell from the pictures. The collar, the back of the collar actually stands up. And so I was just sort of on the hunt. Then while making the fitted Onella pussy bow blouse shirt that I talked about in my video 63, I realized that if I just cut off a portion of that pussy bow blouse, also pussy bow collar and tie piece, then I could achieve this pointed collar look. And the pussy bow blouse from movefabrics.com's Move Society is a free pattern, and so that was perfect. So in the description box below for this video, you will find a link to Move Society's pussy bow blouse with the original pussy bow blouse pattern piece, of course, but also there will be a link for this particular collar piece that I drafted myself. And of course, you may have to adjust the length of the collar piece to fit your neckline, but it's a very simple modification. So this is a pattern piece that I drafted and also I used for this dress. And as you can see, it's a very simple shape. It's basically a rectangle with this, points at the pointed end. And because this dress is a shirt dress, so the opening is in the front. So I cut the collar piece on the fold here. But if the dress has a center back zipper, for example, then instead of cutting this piece on the fold, you would add seam allowance and then cut two of this piece and just connect them. So this is what it looks like. And obviously everybody's neck opening is somewhat different, but it's very easy to adjust to suit your size. Basically, you depending on how long this is, if the neck opening is longer, you will extend this longer, and if it's shorter, you will just shorten it. So it's very simple, and this pattern piece is available for download in the link that I provided in the description box below. So the first dress that I will share with you today is this one here, made from 2 yards of quilting cotton that I purchased from Joanne.com over 2 years ago. So this one has been in my stash for quite a while. And so here's a close-up look of the print. And as you can see, it's a sort of a beigey background with sort of a aubergine, brownish leaf design. And I thought it was very pretty and really liked it. So I'm glad I finally have a chance to use it. About other elements of this, the design of this dress, the dress itself is an evolution of the sort of Toile de Jouy-esque cotton dock dress in blue that I talked about in my video 61. And that one was a self-drafted dress. And for more discussion about how I went about drafting that one, please refer to my video 61. And for this one, it's basically the same, but I wanted the dress to have a bit more of an A-line look. So I just fanned out the skirt portion. So for example, the other one originally is much more straight, But this one I just fanned out the sort of the side seams here, so it gives me a little more A line. And so basically I started fanning out, I would say about 16 inches from the hem, and just fanned out ever so slightly, and then just kind of see, you know, whether that is pleasing or not. And so that's how I ended up with this shape. And so but overall I'm very happy with this sort of slight A-line shape of this dress. Originally, I had some fit issue with that Toile de Juillet-esque dress, and I did fix those fit issues, and that I talked about how I fixed those issues in my video 63 when I made those various tops. And so even though I was overall very happy with the fit of those tops, I did notice that there was a bit of excess fabric for the back bodice. And then I realized that the tops, the shoulder seam actually did not sit exactly in my shoulder seam, in my shoulder. It would sort of sit a little bit past the shoulder, so towards the back. But then the shoulder seam was parallel to my actual shoulder. So that told me that the shoulder slant overall was right. However, the front bodice, shoulder area was too long. That's why you pushed the back bodice piece towards the back, and that's why I had that excess fabric in the back bodice. And so what I did for this version was I looked at the how much past the shoulder seam was, and in my case it was ½ an inch. So I just directly reduced the shoulder seam of this pattern piece by ½ an inch. And because I reduced it by ½ an inch, that means the bodice will also get pulled up a bit. So I also I moved down the bust dart here, and also the fisheye darts here. So, 2 bust darts and 2 fisheye darts here. So I moved them down by ½ an inch. And so that was what I did. And after I made up the outer shell of this dress, I noticed that the bust darts are still too high, even though I reduced it by the same amount. So it looked like I need to move it down by another ½ an inch. After I added the lining to this dress, I realized that the armhole was just too high, and because I forgot to adjust the armhole size when I reduced the front bodice portion, so the armhole became really tight. So in a way I was getting a wedgie in my underarm section. So that was like, okay, it's so uncomfortable, totally needed to be changed. And by the time I already inserted the sleeves for the outer shell and also the lining, so that was quite a lot of work. So then I had to unpick the sleeves for the outer shell and also the lining, and also I had to unpick the side seams here. So then I could move the bust dart, directly below by another ½ an inch, and then also I had to reduce move down the tip of this fisheye dart, because the waist was fine for the fisheye dart, but then it was just too high, and so I needed to, in a way, shorten the length of the fisheye dart for the bodice portion. And because traditionally the darts, the bust darts and the fisheye dart should be about an inch away from the actual apex. So the apex is up here, and then the fisheye dart will start about 1 inch below the apex, and also the bust dart will also end or start, depending on how you look at it, also 1 inch away from the apex. And that's why I needed to make those adjustments. And for if your chest size is larger than an 8 cup, for example, normally the bust darts and the fisheye darts will also be further away from your apex to allow more volume in that area, so the bodice will sit smoothly on the body. And about the sleeves for this dress, I decided to have some puff, but not too much puff. So this is the sleeves from the accidental 70s dress from my video 54. But instead of a ruffled cuff, there's no ruffle. So it's just a plain one here. But I decided to lengthen it, just sort of more of a dramatic effect. And so now it does look a bit dramatic, but not too much. So you can see, it's quite puffed, but the cuff is very cinched in. And because it's longer, there are 3 buttons here. So that's what it looks like. I'm still kind of debating whether the cuffs are too long. But you know what? It's simple to shorten it because I just cut off this portion and then fold in the seam allowance, and that would work very well. But this is what it looks like right now. I lined this dress with 1.5 yards of about 56-inch wide rayon viscose that I purchased from movefabrics.com over the summer last year. And as sometimes is the case when you buy something online, it is very, very different from what I thought it would be. And I just did not like it whatsoever. And so it was just, it just has been sitting in my stash. And then when I was looking for a suitable lining fabric for this dress, I thought that one would work great. And so I'm very glad I used it, because even though I did not like this fabric as a sort of exterior layer of a dress, it is perfectly suitable as lining, and it's very soft, it's very comfortable, so it works great as a lining. So here is a quick video of this very autumnal leafy design dress, and I paired it with a pair of 3.5-inch heels in mahogany. And I am very happy about the shape of this dress. I really like the slight A-line design, and also because it's a one-piece construction in the sense that it doesn't have a separate bodice or a separate skirt. So the construction is actually pretty quick, except for the fact obviously I need to make some adjustments to fix the fit issue. And so really very happy about how it turned out, and so overall it is a success. The second dress that I will share with you today is this one here, made from 2 yards of cotton duck fabric that I purchased from Walmart.com about 2.5 years ago. And so here's a close-up look of the print itself. And as you can see, it's a bit of a kind of vintagey look rose design, and so I really love it because rose is my favorite flower, so really love it. And I purchased this fabric at the same time as the blue toile de Jouy fabric that I talked about in my video 61. The second dress for today also had the same V-neck with the pointed collar. But instead of making another shirt dress, I thought I would do something a little different. So in this case, I made the bodice, with the front plain bodice. So the front bodice was cut on the fold, and then I would have a center back zipper, and so there's a zipper in the back. And about the collar, instead of the collar, instead of cutting on the fold the way I did for the shirt dress, this one for the collar, instead of cut on the fold, I added seam allowance. In this case, I used 1/2 inch. And then I added the seam allowance and then cut 2 of the collar pieces. So then, so this is sort of, so then you see there's a 2-piece here and they're connected. But to keep it sort of together, I added this loop thing here and added a button here, a matching red button. And then so that allows me to, to connect 2 sides of the collar and then fold it back and hiding the button and the mechanism, so that gives it a very clean look. So this is what it looks like, as you can see the collar. But when I was calculating how long this collar piece should be, because obviously there's no button placket, I forgot to include the seam allowance. So meaning when I calculated, I only calculated to the point of the pattern piece. However, because obviously there's sewing seam allowance, so the actual final V, this is a V, the point for this V will be lower than the pattern piece. And so as a result, you can see there's a little gap here. The collar does not really end exactly at this V, this point here. Instead, it's about half an inch before the V. And somehow, this is like everybody has their pet peeves, but somehow this kind of bothers me, and I just did not care for this sort of gapy area here. And so I had two options at that point. Number one is I could unpick the whole thing and added a bit extra length in the back, so that allows this pattern piece to come down more. And so that's one option. But obviously that was kind of a lot of work, because by that time I already lined this dress already. And but then also I feel like this dress could use a little embellishment. So then, because I still have a little bit of fabric left over, I decided to make a little tie. Similar to what I did for the blue silk dress in my video 59. So then I made this little tie here, and so what I was able to do was just sort of put it, so then I would add this here, like this, and then tie it up, and then come down. And so now you can see this thing with just now, the knot of this tie will now hide the gap there. And so that works out fine. And then also gives this dress a little more interest. So overall, I am very happy about this fix. And about the sleeves for this dress, I decided instead of another, sort of a sleeves with the button cuffs, I would make a 3/4 length sleeves. So in this case, I used the sleeves from a vintage McCall's pattern and that I previously talked about in my video 40 and 42. And one special thing about this sleeve pattern is that it has elbow darts. So it's in the back here. And ideally, I guess to give it more shaping, but I cannot say I've noticed that there's a whole lot of shaping going on. And also especially because the print is so busy that you really can't see. So here, it's in the back here. Those are the darts, the two darts for the elbow. But it's not very obvious. But I still really like it. So overall so I'm very happy about how it worked out. And one funny thing about this dress is that even though it's a vintagey sort of a rose print, somehow after I made it up, it just looks so Christmassy. I guess it's because the red roses and the green leaves, somehow it just looks very Christmassy. So that was kind of interesting, even though that was not the intent. But overall it works out great, so I'm very happy about this one. I lined this rose print dress with 1.5 yards of about 56-inch wide rayon viscose that I purchased from fabrichostel.com. And for how I lined this dress with the center back zipper, please refer to my video 27. And the difference in the construction of lining versus the dress in video 27 is that this one has the collars. So what I did was just added the collar pieces to the exterior fabric first. Then I went ahead and added the lining exactly the same way as I did in video 27. So if that interests you, please do refer to that video. And so here is a quick video of this vintage rose print dress, and I paired the dress also with the same 3.5-inch heels in mahogany, and I'm just really happy how it worked out, and it looks quite different from the first autumnal leafy print dress. And so as you can see, even though from the same pattern and same everything, the dresses can look quite different, and so I am very happy about how they both turned out. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed today's video and hearing about the thoughts behind the various design elements of these dresses. So please do stay safe, be well, and I hope I will see you soon. Bye bye.